Hi team, welcome to my session on Coffee with Prabh, and today we're going to discuss about how to use SABSA and how to adopt SABSA in your secure cloud application. I was involved in one of the project where I have to check the maturity of the security architecture and I have to see how to integrate SABSA, and I was looking for some videos to understand how it works. And I was miserably failed because most of the videos talk about SABSA introduction, SABSA details and all that. But there's no video which talk about how to map SABSA in a real life use case. So I think it is the right time. I believe people like me, around 1,000 people in this world looking for such kind of a content. So I thought I will make a video on a similar pattern. So here I am, and I'm making a very short, crisp content which give you the idea about how to use SABSA. We're here with the practical use case of deciding of secure cloud application. So in this video, we're going to discuss about how I'm using a SABSA for my secure cloud application. We have an enterprise and they want to adopt secure cloud application, and they want to ensure that every activity, whatever they're doing, it is basically done in a secure manner and it is aligned with the SABSA architecture. My name is Prabh Nair. For more information, you can check my LinkedIn profile. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss my future videos on a similar topic. So without wasting a time, let's start with the first part. Thank you. Okay, before we're going to discuss about what is SABSA and all that, let's first understand what is architecture. Architecture is like designing a puzzle. The architect has to figure out how to fit all the pieces together to create a functional and beautiful space. Okay, so let's understand with the reference. Suppose this is me. Sorry, I'm not that. Oh, this is me. Okay, I'm planning for one marathon. Okay, so it is basically 11-kilometer marathon. If you see my current state is basically like I'm overweight, no fitness, okay, no food habit, no physical activity, okay, and this is basically my body. So I want to nurture my body, I want to customize my body so that I can able to meet this requirement, which is basically marathon. So that is basically my end goal. So definitely this is me, which is my current state, and this is basically my desired state. To achieve the desired state, I want a transition. So I decided I will go gym. Okay, that something is basically my primary requirement. That is a one block. I need to have a very good nutrition foods, and I need to have some medicines. But problem is that how to arrange, when to go for gym, how the gym is connect with the nutrition foods, in what conditions we need to have a medicines and all that, when I will do my strength training. So all these are basically building blocks. So for that, what I did, I basically create a workout plan. So in which I add a blocks in a sequence. Okay, first day I will start with the running, then second day I will go for gym, afternoon we'll have a lunch. So I organize all these blocks in a more structured manner. And by following this particular workout plan, I am able to achieve my desired state where I'm ready for the marathon. Same like in every company, okay. Whenever new business comes, so example, there is a new business come. That business basically required a server. That business basically required application. The business is basically required people. The business is basically required process. But all question is how to organize them. What is the first thing we need to introduce? We need to understand the process. Based on that, we need to hire people. And then based on that, we need to hire the application. And then we need to buy a server. If we can able to organize in a particular block, I can able to save time. I can able to save cost, and I can able to optimize the existing stuff. And that is the role of an architect. Architect, what it does, it basically organize all the building blocks in a particular structured manner by which we can able to achieve the desired state. So security architect is a set of principles, models, and method that is used to protect the organization information asset. And it is a holistic approach to security that consider all aspects of organization, including its people, process, and technology. So goal of a security architect is to protect the confidentiality, integrity, availability of the information assets. So when I say confidentiality, it basically means it should be protect from unauthorized disclosure. It must be accurate, and more important, it must be available whenever it required. So now we're talking about the SABSA. So when we say SABSA, SABSA, it stands for Sherwood Applied Business Security Architecture. So it is a comprehensive framework that basically helps the organization to develop the effective security architecture, which is aligned with the business goals. Okay. And it is a framework for developing a risk-driven enterprise information security architecture and service management to support a critical business process. So it is a framework which is basically flexible in nature, which can be customized as per the business requirement. So when we're talking about SABSA, in SABSA, we basically have a 6 layers. Okay. It has a 6 dimensions. Okay, so before we're going to discuss about the layers of SABSA, it is very important for us to understand the characteristics. The biggest reason of using a SABSA in the organization is because it is a risk-driven approach. So when I say risk-driven approach, what do you understand from that? So it is basically centered around understanding and managing risk to the organization assets and operation, and it actually emphasizes identifying and addressing security, vulnerability, and threat which can impact the business objective, and that is the reason it's used everywhere. Second is it is basically having a layered approach. Okay, so they organize into 6 layers and each addressing a different aspect of security architecture from a business objective to the physical protection, and these layers ensure the holistic perspective on security. Let's take example, when any employee join the organization, first thing he need to sign the agreement, then sign the policy, then attend the, so this is sequence. So the sequence are the dimensions, the sequence are the layers. So everyone need to go through this layer. Then third is basically called as a business centric. One of the reason of the successful of SABSA is that it is more aligned with the business context. Anything need to be taken, it should be considered from business point of view. What is the best firewall? Checkpoint. No. What is the best firewall that meet the business objective? So it basically places the business context at the center of security decision making, and it ensure the security measure and their associate support and enhance the business goals and strategy. And that is the reason it is successful. Then it is more stakeholder focus. Yeah, exactly. So for him, the first thing is that anything you want to introduce security, first understand the stakeholder requirement. So they identify the stakeholders across the organization from business leader to technical team, and it consider their concerns and priorities, which ensure that security solutions are relevant and effective instead of just having a favoritism from a CISO. Second thing, it's having their own life cycle model. It offers the life cycle model for a security architecture that cover the strategy, design, implementation, operation, improvement. So it ensures the security is ongoing. Okay, so one thing is that they are service oriented. So they emphasis on the delivery of security as a set of service that basically address a specific business need. And this approach align the security effort with the service and functions which is provided by the organization. And the best thing is that it is integrated with other framework also. Like you can integrate this with TOGAF, Zachman, ISO 27001, COBIT, and all that. They also have a metrics. So we can promote the use of a metrics and measurement to assess the effectiveness of a security solution. Okay, so these are the characteristics we have. Okay, so now we're going to understand the 6 layers. Now let's understand first what is this layer. Each layer basically addresses a specific aspect of security architecture, which is basically create a comprehensive framework. Now let's take example. I went to my friend's house and I say, can we go for a cricket? So his mom, her mom asked, why you want to take him for cricket? His dad asked, why you want to? So any initiative we have, it having a 6 dimensions. Okay, it's not something okay randomly we install any firewall in the company. No, we have to see the 6 dimension. Does it meet those 6 dimensions? Then only it is basically meeting the objective. So each layer address the specific aspect of security architecture, and that is why they create a cohesive framework for building an effective security strategy. I'm introducing a firewall because it is good in nature. No, I'm introducing a firewall because it is good from business perspective. It is effective. It basically meet my particular business objective. So this is what dimension we talk about. So in this, the first layer is called as a business attribute. Okay, actually it is not a layer. First is contextual, but we always say first is business attribute, because business attribute talk about, it's very important. Any architecture, if you want to adopt, first you need to understand the business objectives. Okay, you need to understand the drivers like regulatory, you need to understand strategy. So it is good to have a meeting with the business owner, good to have a meeting with the business custodian, data privacy officer to understand the requirement. Then second is basically called as a contextual attribute. Contextual attribute actually define the scope. Okay, it engages the stakeholder, including your legal, compliance, IT and business unit. Okay, I want to do the services of cloud. So I need to see in that country GDPR is there. So this layer is focused on understanding the business objectives, goals, strategy, operational functions. It identifies the key stakeholders, their concerns, the critical assets, that need protection. So this ensures the security measures are aligned with the organization strategy. Third is basically called as a conceptual. So once the context is clear, what is a need, then we basically identify what is required. So here we identify the business drivers, we create a policies. I'm going to discuss each and everything in detail with the practical reference of cloud. Okay. But here I'm just giving example, contextual is all about understanding, concept is all about you building. Okay. So let's take example. I'm identifying policies, I'm creating a policies, I'm documenting a requirement. So that something is basically part of this function. Okay. So that's something we are doing. Then based on that, we have a logical architecture. Logical architecture is basically translate your concept into security services. Okay. And their processes, what we have, like I want a VAPT, I want a SOC. Then I will buy that SOC solutions. I will buy the firewall, which meet the logical requirement. And then I will basically install a specific tool and technologies, where we implement a security controls, okay, identity management, encryption mechanism, and all that. So as I said, it is basically a 6 dimensions we have that we need to understand. I've seen a lot of people get confused with Zatchman with SABSA, because SABSA is used with Zatchman in the organization. So this is the difference we have. So when you're talking about SABSA, SABSA is basically focused on information security, whereas Zatchman is an enterprise architecture. SABSA is the top-down and risk-based approach. It is purely a holistic stakeholder driven. It has a 6 layer of security architecture. It has a 6 perspective of enterprise architecture. It talk about matrix, model and template. It talk about diagram, document, report. If you talk about SABSA, it has an initiation, development, implementation, maintenance, whereas Zatchman has a planning, development, implementation, and evaluation. And if you talk about SABSA's strength, it is comprehensive, it is flexible, scalable, whereas Zatchman is generic, adaptable, and reusable. Weaknesses, it can be complex because we have a 6 dimension. Zatchman is difficult to understand and use because it has a multiple Ws. It consider focus from information security. It basically focus from enterprise architecture. So that is the difference we have. So if I open the Wikipedia, okay, let me show you that. So in this Wikipedia, if you can see, the SABSA is basically integrated with Zatchman. So here we can see the SABSA layers, and this is basically Zatchman requirement. So example, context is the business we have. Then what is the motivation? We need a business process. We need a people, where we need to run the business and when need to be run the business. So here you can see we are adopting a SABSA layer and we are integrating with the Zatchman framework. So that is how we are using. Okay, but as I said, I'm not using Wikipedia as a reference here. I'm using my own case study and will give you the idea about how to integrate SABSA with the secure cloud application. So we're taking the dimension here is practical case study, which talk about how to adopt secure cloud application with SABSA architecture. Okay. So now we got a strategy here is, so we got a task. I'm a security architect in the organization and I got a requirement that, okay, company want to migrate their service on the cloud and they're looking for a secure cloud application strategy. So I adopted SABSA and SABSA say that first you need to understand the business. So understand the organization cloud adoption goals, business drivers. So we look for, so example, I spoke to the business owners. They have a requirement. They want to save cost. They want better availability, accessibility, which cannot be possible with their existing infrastructure. So from there, I got a visibility. Their ultimate goal is to reduce the cost and improve the availability. So I refer SABSA and SABSA say that understand the business attribute. Business attribute basically mean characteristics. So what I did here is I defined the business strategy for a cloud adoption, where such as ensuring the minimal disruption to operation during a migration. So what is action plan? So according to this stage, the action plan will be the documentation. What I need is I need to document the business objective. Okay. And I need to have a complete business strategy which talk about how to migrate non-critical application first to ensure the smooth transition. So this is the sample document we have that I prepared. So here you can see business attribute. So business objective is migrate select IT work to cloud. Strategies adopt the phase approach. It means in phases. First we move the non-critical, then we move critical. The reason why is that first we move non-critical to check the feasibility, and then we move the critical because that is a dependency we have. Then we talk about the business strategy, migration approach, risk management approach, and compliance. Then we talk about the stakeholder interest. I documented their interest, like executive leadership interested in cost saving approach. RT department want us cloud scalability, and legal compliance is concerned about data protection. So we also document the positive and negative impact of the business. Positive is basically reduce the infrastructure. Negative is basically inadequate security control. Definitely when you're moving to the cloud, you have a limited visibility. Then we talk about alignment with the business goal. It's a template. Okay. That is how we create. Then we talk about the timeline. We talk about the milestone. Then we talk about the communication strategy. Okay. What is the communication strategy and business performance metrics? So that is the first document we prepare, which is part of a business attribute. Now, once we understood the business, we define the milestone, then we basically move to the next level. The next level is basically called as a contextual attribute. Okay, where we identify the business drivers, stakeholders, key objectives, which is related to the cloud adoption, where we also understand the organization mission, vision, and strategic goals. Okay, so what is action plan? First thing we have to do is regulatory compliance analysis. Okay, I'm planning to move my service on the cloud. I need to first understand which business will get affected if I move this in a cloud. So suppose I'm assuming the business which I'm considering is Europe business. So for me, the concern is GDPR. So I will try to analyze the GDPR and industry specific regulation to ensure data sovereignty and protection. So here what happened is I have one prepared document. This one I will show you. So this is called as a compliance requirement for secure cloud application. So as a Aspen technology, they want to migrate customer data to the cloud platform. So GDPR will be applied to all the personal data processed in a cloud. I document the data processing principle, like data processing activity. So I had used the GDPR reference, and based on that, I define the data processing principle. Then I add the lawful basis for data processing. I also talk about the data subject right. Then we talk about DPIA, then data breach notification, data transfer, data processing agreement. So this has become a mandatory requirement document. Okay, so as I said earlier, I want to move my service in the cloud, and we have already finalized that, okay, this is the business which going to move in the cloud. So I need to check, is the cloud is in Europe? Is the data will be in the Europe? If it's outside of the Europe, then we have some statutory contract requirements which ensure if you're moving data outside of EU, we need to have a special agreement. So that something will be done in the regulatory compliance analysis. Okay, then we also have a stakeholder analysis where we engage with the legal compliance team to address all the legal concerns. Okay, the data is moving outside of EU. So I will involve the DPO, I will involve the business owner to understand the risk associated with moving data outside of EU, risk associated with the non-compliance. So all those things need to be documented in the second stage, because context is basically all about the perspective. Then we basically move to the next part, which is called as a conceptual attribute document, where, so now we have decided, okay, we need to move the service in the cloud. We decided we need to comply with GDPR. So first thing is that I need to create a cloud security policy according to the concept, and I have to do the risk assessment to identify all the possible risk associated with this requirement. So what is action plan? I need to create one document which is called business requirement mapping, where I'm going to translate all the business goal into a specific security requirement. So here example is for the banking app, it is crucial to ensure data privacy, transaction integrity, secure authentication. So this is how I'm creating a BRP document. Then I will create a data security policy, protection policies, and I will do the risk assessment. Okay, where I'm doing a comparison between moving to the cloud or keeping it on-prem. Once you're done with this, based on that, you decided what components you need to buy. So here you're going to design the security services. You want a key management solution. You want data classification, because we need to identify what kind of a data we're moving in the cloud. So we have to classify the data. So we have to create a data classification program. We need to have a key management solutions. We need to have an encryption management solution. So that is part of the logical attribute. So action plan will be document the business process in which we talk about how the business is going to be work, Then we need to create a security service design attribute. So let me show you. Security service design is a template. Okay, so I will show you an example of that so you get a visibility. See here, as an aspirant transition to cloud-based services, we're designing a robust security service in critical to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, availability. So one requirement is that it need to be comply with GDPR, HIPAA. Then we talk about the overall services that, okay, on the cloud, we need IAM, data protection, network security, threat detection, incident response, compliance. Then we need a IAM, identity access management, encryption level. We set the encryption level also. Okay, if I'm using a Azure virtual machine, so what is the example we have? Then we need a network segmentations. Then we have a threat detection if you want a solution. Then we need a incident response process, compliance reporting. And for each and every sub service, we will create a sub design principle. And then we talk about the compliance requirement. What is the compliance requirement for secure cloud application? So we have already finalized, okay, I want to comply with GDPR. So I already shown you the same template we are using for a GDPR requirement. Okay, so this is something part of a logical. From here, we actually building the services. Then we talk about the physical attribute. Physical attribute basically means select the appropriate cloud service provider. So I know what is need. I want Azure, I want encryption. So I will look for the cloud provider who can meet my requirement. Okay, according to network security, I need a firewall. So in this phase, we finalize the firewall. So action plan is cloud service provider. We need to finalize. We look for the security capability. We look for the certification, which is aligned with the organization security policy. We'll have other evaluation process. Today, we're talking about SOC 2 and all that we consider. Then we talk about system control implementation plan, where we document the deployment of firewall procedure, IDS and everything. I will classify data. I will choose the technical solutions and I will implement the solutions in a phases. So that is basically called as a physical attribute. Then we talk about the component. So once we finalize the strategy, once we finalize the procedure, now it is a time to install the solution. And that is where we are in a component level. In the component level, we talk about what component we need in the cloud. We need a DLP, we need a IAM, we need a KMS. On the specific to the cloud security, we have to see firewall configuration, IDS and all that. So this is how the overall SABSA is basically used to implement in a secure cloud application. So moral of the story is that all layers are interconnected. Until unless we don't have an understanding of a business, we cannot have an understanding of the context, because this layer establishes the foundation. It identifies stakeholder business goals. By understanding the business context, SABSA security professional can design the security solution that support and enable the organizational strategic direction. Then we have a conceptual where we define the process, where we translate the business objective into specific activities and all that. And then we basically create a procedures, which is basically part of the logical architecture. Okay, this layer is deal with the information, building process, building services and all that. And then finally, we talk about the physical attribute where we actually deploy the entire solution. Okay, so this layer is actually deal with the physical aspect of security. It addresses the physical access control also. Okay, so this is how the all layers are basically interconnected, and through this we can adopt the cloud solutions. Okay. So this is all from my side. Do let me know how do you find this video, and do let me know shall I make more videos on a similar pattern or similar content. If you're new to this channel, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to make sure not miss my future video on a similar topic. Thank you so much. Good day. Bye.